Hey there, I'm Jimma, one of the 17 million guitar pickers here in Nashville, but I love it. Wouldn't have it any other way. All my best buddies are also my favorite players, so uh, I'm happy just living the life, living the dream, making a living, plunking out notes, and hoping they come out right. Um, I'm 48, and I started playing. Started plunking around on a guitar when I was about 8. So I've been at it a while, but I didn't really do any regimented practicing until maybe when I was 12, 11 or 12. I got serious about it. I sort of noticed some improvement in spite of the fact that I wasn't even practicing that much or practicing correctly. So then I got kind of serious about it. Got some good feedback from kids at school sometimes when I'd take my guitar down there. These days, I don't even know if they'd let you do that. They'd probably call in bomb squad or fire department or something. Showed up with a guitar. Probably kids, man, they'd probably break it for you if you showed up with one. But I grew up a musical mutt. It was mostly country music of all types, which was everything, literally everything up until that time when I started playing, which was, late 70s. But then I also, at the same time, my family being such big music lovers, there was also 50s rockabilly being played, uh, 60s and 70s rock, blues, jump blues. My mom was a big rockabilly and jump blues fan. And so I was influenced by a lot of the standard guitar players you would expect on the countryside. Roy Nichols, Don Rich, James Burton, of course. Chet Atkins. Chet Atkins was probably the first for me. I used to tell myself that if I could play one of his songs exactly like him with the same touch, I would feel like I've accomplished something and I could go ahead and quit. So 40 years later, I'm still going because I don't think that's attainable for me at least. There's some people that can, but I like to give that style a try now and then, but I would never pass myself off as authentic at it. But aside from all the country guitar players, blues side would be Freddie King for sure, uh, BB King, Albert King, three kings they say. But my mom gave me a record of I don't know what to call them. They were sort of a jump blues band, sort of a blues band, but they also played standards like "When Your Lover Has Gone" and "One O'clock Jump." The band was the Bill Doggett combo. Bill Doggett was an instrumentalist. He played B3 almost exclusively, and he was a had very successful song in the 50s called the Honky Tonk, which almost everybody knows. A guy named Billy Butler was his guitar player back then, and this is the song. So you know the one, the famous one, standard, blues standard. Uh, but what knocked me out about Bill's playing, more so than even guitar players, was it was the first time I heard someone on any instrument really. I really felt a connection to how he played melodies and chords, meaning he would play uh, instead of like single notes. Oh, sometimes he would do single notes or octaves, but on the sunny side of the street, he would play like. So that really got me thinking about trying to incorporate that kind of thing on guitar, more so than jazz players at the time. But then, of course, getting into jazz, it was all the usuals you would expect because they're so great and timeless. Wes Montgomery. My biggest influence in the jazz side is probably Lenny Breau. But there's so many fusion guys, Scott Henderson. Uh, I could go on and on and on. I love to hear flamenco or classical guitar players, but I never could never pass myself off as authentic in that style. I'd rather listen to it more than attempt to play it. I'm definitely not going to do this right here. Attempt any of that for any of y'all in front of this camera. But anyway, that's it. And then, playing in a variety of situations over the years, having to cover songs, and then I've been lucky enough to work with some artists with some great material and be out on the road for a long time. So I've always just taken every job that I can get and keep moving, and it's been a great ride. So I'm hoping to show some things, or at least my approach to things. One thing I should mention is I was born missing a pinky, and it's all I've ever known on that hand. My other hand is completely normal. Uh, it was a random birth defect that didn't run in my family, and honestly, just being naive at 8 years old, 7 or 8, I remember there was always a guitar laying around the house because my dad played and my brother still plays, and he was older than me. And I was just naive and didn't think that I couldn't do it without a pinky, so I just was fascinated by the sound and kept plugging along. And so consequently, I found some of my own ways of fingering things, which might be a little unorthodox and maybe not. But I would like to say my big disclaimer always has been, if you find another way to finger it using your pinky, you probably can and should do that. You don't have to do it exactly like I do. Um, but if it does inspire you to come up with a different fingering on your own, then I'm totally all for that, because I think that's what makes the guitar such a great instrument, is that it's so personal, and I really don't think there should be any rules about certain ways to do things. Lord knows there's so many great players uh, that have played unorthodox ways. What from Wes Montgomery's thumb to Thumb's Carlisle playing on his lap. Um, so anyway, I hope that don't want anybody to get wrapped up too much in the mechanics of what I'm doing in the left hand, but it is a factor I should mention. So hopefully it will still translate, and if like I say, if you find your own way out of something I show you, then that's what I'm looking for.